I don't know. Of course, it's important because it's 6 points behind them, and if they beat us, it's over. If we draw, I would say two. Before the Carabao Cup final, we were underdogs. Nobody gave us a pound, for us, and they have to be calm. They have to prepare because Arsenal is an extraordinary team.
It feels a little bit like the same old story recently in our games where we have a setback and we don't recover from that. We need to find a solution to that. I need to find a solution to that as well. And a lot of that is mental stamina and emotional stability in difficult moments. But at the moment, I need to make sure the short term is good. And we have to focus on a really, really massive game against Manchester United next week.
I do want to talk about your goal. It's a lovely ball into you from Ryan Cherki, but your control and turn in one movement gives the opportunity for you to tuck away that finish, which obviously is a very good goal.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to be playing with so many top players. I think with Ryan, you never know when the ball's going to come, so you just have to be ready. But yeah, I'm grateful to be in that position. And yeah, for I did okay with the finish, and yeah, it was nice to get a goal today.
You now seem to be hitting like really top form.
Yeah, the team feel fresh and everybody is there, and yeah, we have a semi-final FA Cup and 5 or 6 games remaining. So looks not many, but is a lot. So many things I think is going to happen.
Yeah, they look fresh, don't they? And it was a huge opportunity for City, knowing what had happened to Arsenal yesterday. But they didn't start the game hurried or kind of with any sense of urgency. They were happy just to let Chelsea have the ball.
Yeah, they did. And I think that's a real skill in itself, just to be happy to sit, soak up a little bit of pressure, let them dictate play. They did it for about 15, 20 minutes, Chelsea. They were arguably the better team. But then after that, Man City really did start to get a stranglehold of the game.
But it was still 0-0 at half-time. So what changed in the second half?
They carried on from that first 15 minutes, really. They just dominated the ball. They were happy to step up. You can see here, they're all camped on the halfway line. Real comfortable possession. And this was the story of the second half in general, really. Camped on the halfway line. Chelsea just happy to sit back and... Mentally, I think Man City were the stronger team. They really were. They were dominating everything. And alarm bells should have started to ring here. You can see Nico O'Reilly just starting to saunter, making his way into the 18-yard box. There's no real pressure on the ball from Chelsea either. I think they could have got the ball in the box a couple times there. They didn't. And when the ball finally does come into the box here, you can see Nico O'Reilly. He's there with Santos, and that is a complete mismatch. Haaland's taking 2 of the men. Man City have got the box fully ringed out. The ball comes in, and in the end, it's a comfortable finish for Nico O'Reilly. Sanchez, absolutely no chance. This part here, though, is it's a little bit worrying. It really is. If you're going to press as a team, you've got to push up. You've all got to do a job. You've all got to get up there and do it as a unit. Or you get back and defend. Watch Kuznov here. He carries the ball unopposed. Nobody touches him. Nobody lays a glove on him. He gets into Chelsea's half. Simple ball over to the top. And on another day, Semenyo puts that in the back of that. He's got the quality to do that. Sanchez here, trying to do it quickly. I think Caicedo, it's a good ball, I don't blame the goalkeeper at all. It's a good ball, and if he can take it on the half-turn and run away with it, it's fine. But the City's look at them, they sniff it out. Oh, it's absolute green light. Go, go, go. And Doku, it's a lovely little finish into the corner. Simple goal for him, but this makes it 3-0, and it's game over at this point.
It is game over in terms of the scoreline, but in terms of the relentlessness and the energy, 2-0, 3-0, they're still going for the game. They're not happy just to shut it down.
Yeah, the other thing is I'd love to talk about Cherkis and Dokus and all the rest of it, but it's hard work as well. When you come to this time of the season, everyone has to put the work rate in, and it doesn't matter if it's 9, 10, 11, 12, whoever many players play at any point in the game. Haaland sets it off here at that time. And it's not just him. Doku's right behind him. Silva's right behind as well. This is absolutely horrible to play against because you've not got a second on the ball. But when they get it, they're comfortable. Pass back here. You could have let that go. No, Doku, I'll show you. Give you only one place to go. Right, you've got one touch. One touch. You only need to make one mistake here if you're Chelsea and you're on the back foot again. That's because they're all up for it most of the time, all working for each other. One mistake and they've got the ball back again, and look at the comfort when they're on the ball. And it happens time and time again with them. And when they had to depend on somebody else, when they finally got through, not a bad keeper to rely on, is it?
See, he makes this look a lot more simple. I know it's straight ahead, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of goalies there that get too involved there. They rush out, they collide with Cucurella, and it's a penalty, but he doesn't. He holds, waits, makes the save.
Yeah, I mean, the whole way through the game, if you're up 2-3, they just don't turn off. Everyone else chasing back. It's the players that are chasing back. That's Semenyo there. He's playing at left back, and he's doing it constantly through the game. and he's got the fitness to be able to do it as well. Foden's come on, and he's not just swaned into the game. It's not going great for Foden at the moment, but do you know what? You can work your way out of these times, and that guy right now is working.
And I don't know if you noticed there at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, that was still playing on the pitch and so many empty seats, so many blue seats there. 5 games now out of 6 they've lost in all competitions. Things are not going well for Chelsea.
And a particularly bad run just now. I mean, 5 points out of 21 when they were trying to go and get Champions League football, and they're falling right off it just now. There's a bad feeling at the club at the moment with a lot of the fans as well. They're not actually angry at the moment. They're actually resigned. And that's a bad thing. It's a very, very bad thing at this time of the season. So they need to get something turned around. But at this point in time, the work rate that you need isn't actually coming for that group of players just now. They need to turn it around quickly, or Champions League's going to disappear.
A lot of boos at full time as well.
Now, this is a remarkable thing that Pep Guardiola has done time and time again, so I don't know why we're so surprised that he seems to be closing in on what was a 12-point lead, because April is the month he knows that his teams have to ramp it up, and their record in April compared to, say, Arsenal, now this is since Arteta took over, so last 6 years, is 2.7 points per game compared to Arsenal's 1.5 per game. So in black and white terms there, they know how to manage this month and what to do. But how do you do that? It's about more than using your squad and injuries, isn't it?
I think first and foremost it's bought and paid for. You know, Pep Guardiola's 6 Premier League titles now. They've done it before. I think with Arsenal, because they're still quite haven't managed to get over the line, the pressure's starting to build. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you're looking at that graphic there, it's ominous, it really is.
But it's a mental thing, Pat.
It is a mental thing, but the great teams know how to do it. And you say that simply great teams. There are not many great teams, but you look back at the great Liverpool teams, they were able to do it. Sir Alex Ferguson, he always knew, starts in December, January, February, and builds from there. So the very, very best managers always manage how to do it, get the players that are capable of doing it. And if they have to add a little bit, say in January, an extra player that just gives them that little bit of lift, they know how to do that as well. So, to be honest, Man City, you can just feel it coming, and it must be horrible if you're Arsenal.
Well, we will throw it towards next weekend.
Well, you can see the delight even in Pep Guardiola's manner there. I mean, how much of a statement was that in the second half today?
Huge statement, needed as well, obviously. Now it's just about winning games, and Pep often speaks about performances, but at this stage of the season, whether it's Cup or League, you just want to get the wins, and they did that today. And yes, there was a lot to improve on from the first half, but the second half was sensational. And
as we've often seen, they were ruthless, foot to the ground. They didn't take the foot off the pedal, did they?
No, and that was really impressive, Steve, I thought. Once they scored the goal, lots of teams just, hold on to what they've got a little bit, but Pep Guardiola's team just went forward, wave after wave. I mean, as soon as they scored, that second half was as clinical, as one-sided as you'll see. They were brilliant right from the start, and got their goal early and then just continued, and the game could have continued, they would have continued scoring. It was that dominant, and just a brilliant time of the season to start hitting your stride, because they have been up and down this season. They have struggled for consistency, but at the moment, you mentioned before about the teams that they've played recently and beaten them all comfortably. Arsenal will be really nervous about going to the Etihad on the weekend.
Yeah, we'll come to that game later. But the last 3 games, the cup final against Arsenal, 1 clean sheet. Quarter final against Liverpool, 1 4-0 clean sheet, and then this today. I mean, they're building momentum at exactly the right time.
They're motoring, and again they look like they've caught their rhythm, and they always do. This time of year, April, we've seen Pep's record, and I think this is a new team. We thought like when it looked like it was really bad last year, and would Pep stay? And you saw the challenge of building a new team, and this team now looks very, very dangerous. If they do go and win the league this year, I think it's the biggest achievement of Pep's career, because he's had to, not many great managers get a chance to keep rebuilding. I think like Fergie, Wenger to a certain degree as well, but he's rebuilt a team in his image, and they look sensational at the moment.
Yeah, I couldn't have them winning the league at the start of the season. I must admit, I thought
miles off it.
I mean, Liverpool won it at an absolute canter. They spent so much money. Yeah. I thought it's got to be Liverpool's. If there is going to be a fly in the ointment, it's Arsenal. Too much change at Manchester City. They're going to take time, and of course, you'd never doubt Pep Guardiola. But I just thought there's so much work to be done at that club. I mean, I agree with you, Joe. I think if they win it this season, that is that is as good an achievement as you'll see.
And were they playing in that second half like they can smell it, like they really believe?
Yeah, definitely. And like Joe said, it's not just the second half today. It was the second half against Arsenal in the Cup. Patches throughout the Liverpool game. And again, maybe rode their luck a little bit, but when they get into these moments, and Pep spoke about the need to balance the attack and attack down the right equally as down the left and make the game effective when you're in these areas. And Cherki, again, as he's done so often, right, his time at Man City, puts the ball in the area, and Nico O'Reilly, again, not unfamiliar to this, and has proved so important at the vital times of this season.
And it sums their goal threat up all around the pitch.
Yeah, got goals from everywhere. If anything, the big man's, apart from his hat-trick, he's been a little bit off it, in terms of goals. But the goals are coming. Mark Guehi, this lad as well. This is the centre forward's finish here. Like Mo said, he's just off the back foot, bang. So the goals, it's been shared around, and they look like such a threat.
And I think that's the thing, Joe. I think there's often comments been made about, are they too heavily reliant on Haaland? And they're not at the moment. Yeah. Again, he probably wants to score more goals, as any striker would do. But the fact that they are sharing the goal load, and people are chipping in it from all areas.
They've showed a lot of different qualities as well. A bit of counter-attacking, a bit of build-up play, high press in this situation as well. They've shown a lot of different strings to their bow today. Whichever way you look at it, they were dominant.
And that's a great point Joe's made. I mean, a lot of discussion on our shows about the reliance on Haaland. He scored 3 goals in 13 Premier League games, and City are right in it, 6 points off the top with a game in hand, and they've scored 3 again today, and he hasn't scored. We saw him at the end desperate to score, didn't we, by the way?
We did, yeah, you could see, couldn't you? And listen, we will always go through patches where we look at somebody like Haaland and he'll be the only standout point, let's say. He'll be scoring all the goals and we'll say, oh, are they too? And then, of course, every player is human. We'll go through patches where we see the team scoring goals and Haaland, maybe not at the absolute top of his game. And that's just life. That's just football. That's just, people coming in and out of form. As long as you're all contributing all the time, then it doesn't matter who will get the goals eventually. When Pep Guardiola is thinking of his team for the next game, let's say, you can bet your bottom dollar, even though his goal record isn't amazing at the moment, he's still obviously incredibly important. But it is a lovely problem to have, or not a problem, it's a lovely thing to have for Pep at the moment, is to have goals coming from even centre-halves, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and they've been in this position so many times, but as you said, it is a new team with new members. We spoke to one of them, Mark Guehi, when we were covering the game, but they seem to be led by these serial winners in the dressing room, Joe.
Yeah, exactly, and it's the evolution. So having them boys in the room will help the new players. It's what Manchester United done for years when they'd be champions, they'd freshen it up, but they kept the core. So crucial moments like this, it's not like over in North London where it looks like they're doing mental gymnastics just to get back to some kind of form. That there's a calmness to them. Even today when the first half it wasn't great. But Pep knew what to say, knew what buttons to press. Then they come out and it was sensational in the second half.
And often they've been the leaders, haven't they? This year they're chasing, and as Michael said, a lot of people had written them off, but they're creeping and they're chasing, and sometimes that's not a bad position to be in.
Definitely not, especially when the fate of your destiny is in your own hands. But again, it's added motivation, a new challenge, and again, they haven't got stale because they've been so consistent over the last 8-9 years. But in regards to a new challenge and a new way to win the league, this will be an added incentive for these group of players.
Do you think Pep's used that in the dressing room? Listen, guys, they've all written us off. They don't think we can win the league. Let's go and prove them. Let's see if you've got the answers.
I'm sure you will. You speak to your players so often. You've always got to give them new messages. And that message changes from day to day, from week to week. But I'm sure at certain points of the season, when certain people have written them off, their fans, the media, pundits, whoever it might be, I'm sure they will definitely use that as motivation. Any form of motivation is good motivation, You can turn it in any way, but I don't think they'll need much more now. They just need to look at that league table and that'll get them excited enough.
Absolutely. And a week today, of course, we will be at the Etihad for that huge game, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show when we talk Arsenal. But, of course, City have beaten Chelsea here today. That's the other side of the story. 1 win in 7 Premier League games now for Chelsea, and 4 here at the Bridge without a win for the first time in 3 years. Here's their manager, Liam Rossigna.
Well, Liam, a tale of 2 halves. Would you agree? Very competitive first half. I don't know, what would your word be for the second?
Not good enough in the second half. We didn't start the half well, had moments to clear our box, had moments to keep the ball and didn't, and they were camped in our half for the first 5 minutes. We conceded a goal, it's a great cross and a great header, and then it's a similar story for the past month now in terms of dealing with setbacks. When you go goal down against a team as good as this, what you have to do for the next 5 minutes is stay in the game before you know it's 2-0. And then it becomes a really, really difficult half against an outstanding team. You want to chase the game, but you know if you do, with the players that they have in the way that they play, they can keep possession of the ball. And it ended up being a really, really difficult second half.
So how do you develop that type of resilience? It doesn't, I don't know, but it doesn't feel like something you can coach.
No, it's not. I'm accountable. This is a group. This is something that we have to improve. For me, it starts on the training pitch. It starts with your habits. It starts with your values. We've already spoken about these things, but I can't say that there was a lack of effort, especially in the first half. I felt there was a lack of confidence in the second half. I found we started losing possession of the ball too easily. We have to improve because at the moment we're in a difficult place, and we've got another huge game next week.
They are in a difficult place, and they're 4 points now off those automatic Champions League places. As you can see, Joe's former teammate, Chelsea legend Ida Gudjohnsen, who's been with us all day, has joined us as well to talk Chelsea. Where's your former club at the moment? Difficult place, Liam Rosenior says.
How much time do we have? It's probably the hardest question you can ask. Where is Chelsea at the moment? Where are they going? What's the structure? What's the vision? Second half, I don't think I've ever seen a Chelsea team with such inferiority of the physical part of the game. Thought I was looking at men versus talents.
Yeah.
Who do they look up to get them inspired? Does anyone go in the dressing room, grab someone by the throat, so to speak?
Yeah.
Do they interact in a sense to raise the level of each other, raise each other's levels?
Demands of each other.
Demands. And I don't have a feeling of, is there a Chelsea player that goes into that dressing room after a game like this and is absolutely devastated? If we, back in our day, this club, if you'd have seen a dressing room after a 3-0 defeat at home, I wouldn't have slept for 4 days.
Yeah.
I just don't have a feeling for a sense of, is there anyone who actually loves this club? Do they have a leader in the dressing room that goes, do you realise which club you're playing for?
Well, there was a leader today, Mark Guehi, come and spoke to us. He come through the ranks at Chelsea, and he scored the decisive goal. Like, he is playing for England now, probably England's #1 centre-half. He's come through the ranks, he's a Chelsea boy. So that just shows about the structure of the club. The club have let this kid go to Crystal Palace 2-3 years ago. He's fought his way back up to the top, and now he's the main man for Pep. And that just shows you where, the club have spent, in that time, must have spent hundreds of £1 million on centre-halves. And you've got one, but he's playing in the Manchester City shirt. And I think that's just where the club are at the moment. It's like completely wayward, and there's no guidance. And they're not. Ida's right. It doesn't seem to be painful, a 3-0 home defeat like it should be.
And it's the first time in 8 years they've lost back-to-back league games by a 3-goal margin. Are they too easy to play against at the moment, Ida?
Well, too easy. I think it goes down to character. I don't think they're. I mean, who in this Chelsea team is at the peak of their career? I don't think anyone. Everyone has got a level above, or most of them do have. So you haven't got one single player, in my opinion, who's at the peak of his career in one of the biggest clubs in the Premiership. That doesn't sound right, does it?
Exactly that. I mean, but the project is like, before it was, we're going to try and buy the best players, and we're going to try and get the best manager, and when it don't go right, the manager will get the sack, or the players will get sold, and new players will come in. There was like, everyone at the club knew where he was going. And now I feel it's like they're buying players, not to build the team, but as an asset.
Yeah, and they're all at the same age, Joe. So
they're the youngest average starting 11 in the Premier League this season.
The easiest thing to say, they lack leadership. Of course, any team needs leadership. But who's going to grow into that role then? We have Reece James. When he's fit, he's a leader. But he's one. So as soon as he is not on the pitch, I have a feeling, who are we looking at from the stands? Who is going to drag them through the mud every now and again?
Yeah, that's it. And when we talk about leadership and players like Reece James, it's hard to drive when you're really the only senior player. You get a few other lads around you and that, but then it's standards and how do you do things. And I just think it comes down to the recruitment policy. You know, because it's clear. I've been saying it for. I feel like a broken record. I've been saying it for the last 2-3 years. You need to start bringing in players who know how to win, know what the standards are, and then they can guide the guys. And then these guys all at a level like that, in a few years' time, with the right guidance, they can become top players. But if you have no one guiding the way, you end up picking up bad habits, and then you end up not reaching your potential. So no matter how much potential you've got, you still need good people around you within that dressing room to guide us forward.
And in terms of the recruitment, they're 4 points off the Champions League places. If they don't finish in the Champions League places, how difficult is it then to attract the top players and indeed hold on to some of the ones here? I mean, we've already seen Enzo Fernandez not playing today because he's reprimanded for hinting he wants to leave the club.
Yeah, well, that's a completely different matter. It just goes to show how important this Champions League spot is for Chelsea, because where do they go from here? Can they keep everyone, or at least, I'd say, try at least and get a sense of who are the players that are willing to die for the shirt, so to speak. Keep them and start building around them. And if you can attract some experienced players, someone who's connected to the club, who can sort of bring the message to the players. What does it mean to play for Chelsea Football Club? You know, I came to this club, and it was huge. It wasn't the Chelsea that it is today, or hadn't reached the levels that it has in the past. But I came in a dressing room with Dennis Wise, Marcel Desailly.
Yeah.
Do you think they opened their mouth, and I sat there and I was absorbing information. I was listening to huge characters in a dressing room, love for the club, Desailly, world champion, and I can name a good few. You know, Jimmy Floyd came in, we felt something for this club straight away. Then we go through the JT and the Lampard. You cannot buy a JT or a Lampard nowadays. But we grew into that role of being leaders together, 3 and 4 of us. JT is a leader within himself. Frank leads on the pitch. We looked at each other. If you're not on it today in training, I'll let you know. Don't worry, and vice versa. So we grew together and became men and formed our characters as individuals and as a group. And then you go into the recruitment and you think, wow, we got Didier Drogba.
Yeah.
Look what he did for the club.
Yeah.
And how they grew into the roles, what made this club, basically. We're a bit far off it now, I think.
We shall see. Great to see you, Adam. Thank you very much indeed. It is Manchester United here on Saturday night next, of course, for Chelsea. Next for us.
Tough one, especially because we had invested a lot in this game. We need the importance of that. So it's a big punch on the face. And now it's about the reaction, how you stand up and fight it and go with everything that we have forward, because it's a painful day for sure.
Pressure rising, is it telling on the players?
I don't know if it's that. I think, again, we've been coping with a lot of pressures in the beginning of the season. Today was more, obviously, a surprise of certain action that are very far from the level that we have shown. And obviously, that shocks the system. And we weren't good enough. We asked a lot for our crowd. Today, we didn't respond to those standards. And we have to apologize, taking in the chin and move on.
We're going to need you.
Well, that was the stunning results of the weekend at the Emirates. And Joe, nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming. And Bournemouth were well-deserved winners. They were top draw, moved the ball. Arsenal, it just seems like it's this fear on their back that they can't get out. Like, you know, Declan Rice missing passes, you know, Gyökeres, his balls bouncing off him. All these little things that were better,
What we doing, guys?
Hey, we finished talking. We finished talking about Man City.
Oh, you don't invite me on the show anymore.
Mind you, you're an Arsenal fan.
You're
We're talking after.
What do you think?
You work 8 days a week. That's why you can't come on our show anymore.
I know, but I'd like to be invited every now and then. I love this show. You know, you used to be good to me. You used to be good to me, but you don't treat me with no respect anymore. You don't ring. You don't text. No nothing. After that result as well, City are back. Whoa, let's go.
Thanks, mates. That's Micah Richards making a guest appearance, in case you didn't already know. And he is an Arsenal fan as a kid as well, but obviously he's in Manchester City.
If Arsenal had won and City had lost, he would have been singing the Arsenal song.
There we go. Where were we? Oh, yes, Arsenal.
Yeah.
And you can feel the nerves around the stadium. And is that down to because the players haven't got any major trophy over the line yet, most of them?
Definitely. But a lot of it comes from the fans as well. The fans are nervous. The fans are so desperate for the team to do well, and that transmits onto the pitch as well. It can do anyway. And I think it's not just happened in the last week or two. I think a lot of people have commented how it feels quite tense around the Emirates at the moment because it's so important to them. I mean, they haven't won the league in a long, long time. This is their best chance in a long, long time. They've been so many points clear. It's understandable, that nervousness and that apprehension, let's say, but they've got to find a way because they're never going to get a better chance than they are at the moment.
Now, on that experience, when the season gets going, Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, Jose Mourinho, they all used to say April. April's the time it gets going. The season starts when the results really matter. Have a look at this. In the Premier League, Mikel Arteta against Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola's played 30 nights, won 31 of them and only lost 3. Only 11 wins from 26 games in April for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. And that really is just indicating how big now this push is, Jolien.
Oh, definitely. Whether that is a manager factor or a player factor, like Mo said, there's not enough players in the dressing room that have got across the line in whatever competition that may be. So hopefully that is a good indicator that City can go on. And yes, I do believe City will go on to win the games. It's just whether Arsenal can get a result next week.
Yeah. How big in recent years is this game? Have we had one at this stage of the season between the top two so significant?
No, I think it's been a long time since we've had one as important as this. I thought the League Cup final a few weeks ago was that when I was asked the question, will that affect the title race? I was like, well, not really. It's a cup. It stands alone. But I think the way the Arsenal players' body language was after the cup final was quite telling, and I don't think they've recovered properly from that. I know they went to Lisbon and they won in the Champions League, but that's a gimme for Arsenal. It's not because Lisbon are not a good side, but because the pressure's off there. But since then, I just felt the whole club, even you hear the fans talking and in the group chats you're in and everything. There's just a nervousness and just a massive amount of fear that's in that club. And Mikel Arteta has to find a solution, or you'll be crowning Pep champion again in a few weeks' time.
They'd lost, Michael, 3 games in 52 in all competitions, and they've suddenly, from nowhere, lost 3 of the last 4 at completely the wrong time.
Exactly. And what can you say? I mean, I must admit, I've been defending Arsenal to lots and lots of people that always say to me, "Oh yeah, they always bottle at the end." I'm like, do they? I mean, I can remember when Manchester City, before they won the league for the first time a long time ago, they would be coming second and third and getting closer and closer. And Liverpool came second a few times, actually. Liverpool have won it a couple of times in the last decade. They've come second a lot of times as well. You need to sort of build into winning the league. It's only Leicester that have pretty much gone bump out of nowhere and won a league. Virtually every team needs to get better and better.
How long can you build for?
Well, exactly. And if they don't win it this year, then of course my theory's out the window. I'll agree with everyone. But in the main, I've been thinking it's a little bit harsh. Arsenal have been doing particularly well in recent years, getting closer. Semi-final of a Champions League last season, second in the league. They've been winning the odd trophy as well. I've been giving them a little bit of slack, I must admit. However, I'll be giving them a little bit of stick if they throw this one away.
Let's have a look what they've both got left to play. We've got this enormous game at the Etihad next Sunday. We will be there. on the road to bring you that. Then City, Burnley, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Villa, and still to be arranged game in hand against Crystal Palace. Arsenal, Newcastle and Fulham at home, trips to West Ham and Palace, and Burnley at home. I mean, how do we see this playing out from now?
I still think they'll get over the line, Arsenal. I think they'll stumble across the line. I don't know what else is going to happen next week, but if I look at them other games, I know they were not playing, but if I look at every one of them games, that's very winnable for the Arsenal side. You look at, like, Burnley will be gone. Palace might have a Conference League final to look forward to. West Ham are fighting for their lives. That's a tough game away. Fulham at home, I think they're sort of in that mid-table thing. And Newcastle are not playing well. So I think that the fixtures are quite favourable for Arsenal. They're winnable games. But if they can avoid defeat in Manchester, I think it'll be theirs.
Jolien?
Yeah, I slightly disagree. I just think the home games are equally as nervy, probably more nervy for Arsenal. I think the atmosphere that they have there, the kind of anxiety around the performances, and they said if it isn't at this moment, if it doesn't feel like a set piece, then they don't feel like they're going to really score. So I'm not so sure. I'm not as confident as Joe, probably because I've got a Man City hat on, but in regards to them fixtures, I would rather have City's.
Well, I just side with Joe. I think that Manchester City have got Arsenal have got the slightly more... Manchester City got the slightly more difficult games. They've got Bournemouth away, they've got Everton away. They're two tough games. However, when you look at this weekend, we thought Arsenal at home to Bournemouth, Man City away.
And that's City's sole focus. If Arsenal get through against Lisbon, they could have 2 huge Champions League semi-finals in and around that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is pointing to Manchester City, isn't it? The momentum, the record that we've just seen, the Pep Guardiola as opposed to Arteta, the experience of the players and the team and the clubs, everything's pointing the current form. Manchester City playing at home against Arsenal. It's all pointing to Manchester City at the moment. It's a toss of a coin. I think Arsenal might just nick it.
A couple of days ago, it was all pointing to Arsenal, wasn't it? It's been a